Alright, so I'm gonna do this thing step by step. Pretty busy neighborhood all of a sudden. The shit was quiet as fuck a minute ago. Excuse the curse, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, your best training regimen to do this with is under the influence. Like having a beer, something that'll kinda motivate you to do it. Other than the fact that it's, sputtering and all kind of mess. Alright, so these came from my air intake. You go to this, and pretty much vacuum lines. Those play a role in your exhaust, of course, which is a little troublesome sometimes if you don't know what you're doing. This actually, I just yanked that out, but it goes to this part side goes to my throttle body. This little piece right here, and it curves around and goes to the what you call that damn thing. Anyway, it goes to the that big tube I took off, which is what I would call the air intake, whatever. All right, so now you're gonna pull this off. It's just a simple matter of pulling off tubes and hoses and all kind of mess to get it out your way, because the objective is to get here. I know I just showed you the other side, but I'm doing the other side. I'm just doing it a little bit universally. Pardon the step-by-step method, but that's how I roll. Anyway, country boy style, South Carolina. All right, so repping Conway and Myrtle Beach, which is not too far from it. All right, so I'm definitely, everything I'm pulling off right about now. Some people have the step-by-steps to say it's the right way to do it. There is a right and a wrong way to do it. I'm pretty much doing it my way, because we all have our own ways of doing things. But I'm definitely pulling off these lines right here. Hope you see what I'm doing, because these will definitely be in your way. These are also like vacuum lines and crap like that. It's the EGR valve I just pulled off. And I just pulled this off the down here where the fuel rail is. That's going to come off a little bit later. But first you got to be able to get to it. So I'm just pulling everything off here. This is on pretty tight, but that's has to be because of the fact that you have a lot of different vacuum. It has to. A lot of this stuff has to come off in order for you to be able to get to certain areas. Oh, it's gonna be a pain in the neck, but it'll be worth your while once you get to it. Now, if you see the wheel well down here, you can see that it's going to take a lot for me to get to those bolts in the back. It might take a little less, but I'm not taking no chances today. I don't feel like it. I'm getting too old for this mess. This is not going to be in my way, but this will. So I'm going to take this off. Let's see what else I got going on here. It's not really much to pull off, but if for a person that's not mechanically inclined, I highly recommend you watch a couple of videos, from a couple of different mechanics. I'm not certified, but my grandfather was, and I get most of this know-how from him, even though he didn't realize how mechanically inclined his grandson was going to be, or maybe he did. It was just doing it because he knew. But anyway, this is going to have to take some pliers to pull off right here to loosen it up. I'm just telling you so you'll see. This is going to be kind of hard to pull off, but then just yank it, Like a lot of this stuff, you just pull it. That's what I'm doing. I'm pretty much pulling off the easy parts of it. I'm definitely going to end up more than likely pulling off my alternator. Now, when you're pulling this off, it's going to be a little task, because you got to have that pulley, that pulley thingy, in order to put it here and be able to pull it all the way off. Once you get it to where it moves, that's how you get your belt off. But then I might not even have to go there for I probably just go as far as, because this is all about just giving you some room to where you can get to these and these. You need the room, you pull all this mess off, pretty much. I'm dealing with only 2 sockets. That's the only 2 sockets I feel like I'm going to need, and that's an 8 and a 10 millimeter socket. The only reason you would have to go above and beyond, more than likely, is this solenoid right here, which is on the passenger side. I had trouble with it a while back because I messed around and tried to put it on too tight, and I ended up, and I'm glad I saved it, with this. As you can see, it's pretty jacked up looking, but you know, at the end of the day, that's how you start your car. It'll keep your car from starting. The reason it looked like that, because I tried to glue some stuff on there to kind of put the pieces back on it, and hopefully, in hopes that it would go back together, but it didn't. But it didn't happen. As you can see, I pulled my whole battery out, but that's simply because I don't need that to be on my way. Now, the battery wheel itself, I'd recommend cleaning it off once you got the battery out, because as you can see, I got a hell of corrosion down there. Being that I got a new solenoid, which is what this is, most you know, I could just simply just twist these off. Have you something to put these things in, and have a system to where you know where everything's gonna go at, label it, whatever, you know, just to make sure you know that you're putting all this stuff back. I mean, where to put everything back. Yeah, I'm pulling all this stuff off, but I'm doing it with good reason, because when I get this off, I'm pulling this whole thing off of here. But it's a process, because you got to make sure you know what goes where once you put everything back on, and that is my purpose of this video. I'm probably going to save you a couple of $100 if you're willing to put in the effort. So, you know, bear with me. Let's see. That throttle body going, it's not going to be a pain in the neck. The only part of the throttle body be a pain in the neck is right there. And this cannot be loose, but it's going to play a role. You know, I recommend that you get the smallest thing possible, being that I needed an adapter. That's not going to work out so well, because once I put the adapter here, you know, I don't have room. And as you can see, the engine bay, well, the top of the engine bay right here has its firewall, and I won't be able to fit a socket on there like I need to. Now, all of these bolts are the same size, 8 millimeter. Every last one of them. The ones for the throttle body. Some of these are 10 millimeter. So like I said, you basically need an 8 and a 10 millimeter socket wrench. I mean, sockets to get all this stuff off. So, and this is a little complicated too, because this has a, as you can see right here, it has a bolt right here, which I believe is like an 8 millimeter. I want to say it's an 8. See, it's an 8. If you don't have an 8 millimeter, I'd say find the metric fractional one that's about the same size as the 8. I found a 5/8 socket to work, if I'm not mistaken. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take a look just to be on the safe side in my trusty dusty toolbox. But I got 2 of them, so I can kind of be in order. Let's see if we can find a 5/8 one, because this is 8. Well, let's say 3/8 then. It's about the same size. I'm gonna test it real quick just to get a feel, just to make sure. Because if you don't have these things, which are very important, you're gonna end up spending some money going to the store. Yep, 3/8. So a 3/8 socket or an 8 millimeter. I recommend an 8 millimeter myself. They're all because the 3/8 is oh no, they're about the same, you know, metric thing. They got the, instead of having 4, they got like 6. It's like hexagonal. All right. Anyway, so I did this a couple of weeks ago, so that's why it's so easy for me to pull these bolts out with my hand. Yeah, I'm in the heat. Don't matter. It's something that, because I'm sick of catching a bus, I'm not going to sit here in front. All right, this is something I kind of rigged up, but it works. I recommend what did I use? Whatever this was, I used. It had what you call it? One of those. I think it was a 10 or 8, one of the two. Anyway, I pulled it off and I couldn't find it no more. So yeah, I'm working with that. All right, so that's not going to work. But anyway, 8 and 10 millimeter bolts. You can pretty much tell the difference once you get to them. But it's definitely, it's way more simple than it looks. As long as you can get these vacuum lines apart, right here, and know where your electrical lines go once you get them off, and where to put them back at, you'd be just fine. Because that's basically all it is, electrical lines. That throttle position sensor, I do not believe in the sensor going bad, but sometimes they do. And sometimes it is good to replace them. Now, they were saying that the quality is these things, you got to be on the lookout for these, because this one, I'm considering putting my old one back up there, being that this one doesn't even have the proper stuff in it. But anyway, yeah, I'm just making a long story short. As you can see, the connected lines, I'm just pulling them off. This one right here is not going to be all that complicated either, because these are, like I said, a lot of vacuum tubes and all that. I only got one bolt holding this thing in back here. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 8 millimeter socket and pull it off. Now be careful, because if that thing drops inside of your engine, that could be really bad, and it could cost you hundreds of dollars, and I mean some hundreds too. And I ain't got that kind of money, so that's why I'm doing this and making this video. Trying to save a couple of you good people out there some a fair share amount of money. I'm using the my extensions in order to kind of put this stuff together. It's always good to know your tools and know how to work with them, because a person with no experience in how to work with tools, they can tear up some stuff really bad if they don't know what they're doing. All right, so I'm going to use a ratchet for this one, which is not bad. Yeah, I went to Lowe's, or I forgot. I think I went to Lowe's, or no, I went to Home Depot and got these. It's a set of three. Three extensions, 3 different sizes. Big, bigger, and biggest. So that's basically what I'm working with right now. Let's see. And yeah, they come in pretty handy when you're doing stuff like this. So let me try to get this together so I can pull this thing off. I'm really not in the mood to be messing with this stuff today. But on the other hand, I have no choice. Like I said, I gotta save me some money. And we all like to save money, right? All right, let's see if I can get it off now, because it's here. All right, let's see. Yeah, much better. And now I can kind of just take the other thingy I had and pull it off. I'm sorry for not being able to refer to everything and properly name it. But if you want, you can watch another guy and they'll show you. Anyway, I'm just taking all this stuff off. It'll give me room, or give, you got to, it's like, the process of working on vehicles is just like a cooking procedure, or any procedure that you do in a job site, or just about anywhere. You're going to have to go through a couple steps and a couple of different things in order to get to a problem, or to the root of the problem. All right, this is very important. So I got this big ass box. Of course I was going to do that. All right, so yeah, the reason I got that box down there behind me is just so I can have all my parts together once I start putting everything back on sequentially. All right, now this is probably going to be a 10. Let me see if I can find my 10 millimeter. I think I did finally put it up. It's always good to have extra bolts and extra pieces to work with as well. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can get this thing off. I got this up here for nothing, pretty much. It's not going to do me any good for right now. It's too big for any damn thing. But then I know it's going to come in handy at some point. Not on this job, which is which is really my personal vehicle. But you know, you never know. I don't even need this no more. I just need to put this here. What's up, Mr. E? All right. So, put this here. It's pretty much just pulling everything off, you know. It's a sequence that you gotta follow. That's the way I see it. And get it just loose enough to where you know, me, I find it easier to get it just loose enough to where I can just work with everything I got going on. Just pulling everything off little by little. It's amazing. I might not be the scholar or the world's strongest man, but when it comes to tools, they come in very handy. And if you know how to use them well. That's all I can say. All right, so I'm pulling all this stuff off. I might end up pulling this piece off because I probably got like 2 bolts down there. That's on top of, that's like sitting like right up under here, and I couldn't get my hand in it because it's surprisingly my hand is too big to reach in there. Anyway, so there's another piece that I'm putting in. Now, like I said before, when you doing stuff like this, make sure you know where everything's gonna go back to. You know, I could even be reminding myself about this stuff because a lot of times, you know, we find ourselves doing these such things, and it helps to get different opinions and evaluate what you got going on. Well, different opinions and, you know, just doing these things accordingly. All right, so right now, let me see. I gotta go down a notch. I'm gonna go down to an 11 millimeter because I have an improper screw up there because I couldn't find the screw that I was using. Let's see. All right, that's good. Okay, so which one should I use? I think I'll use this one to pull it. Now make sure when you put this stuff back on later on that it's all nice and tight because it could really, really jack you up if you don't. You know, you don't want to be going down the road and something comes loose because you didn't put it on quick, tight enough. Let's see now. Let's see. Darn it. So I need a longer one. Or, what did I have last time? I don't even remember what I had last time to pull that thing off. I'm going to try to find an 11. See if I can get it off that way. Let's see. Another size 11, rather. Like I said, there's something. It's like, there we go. A longer one. See, there are 2 different lengths. This 11 should definitely do the trick. It's always good to have longer short as well as your long sockets, because short and deep sockets, because when you go shopping for these things, you know, you're gonna have to be able to name them properly. There we go. Set that for later. That's if I don't find the other one. All right, so now, damn it, I'm gonna have to pull this off, which should be able to come off pretty easily now. See how that easy that was? Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna take a 10 and pull that off. Let me see. Like I said, just a 10 and an 8. I got those 2, so let's see now. Where's my 10? That's my 10. All right. You know, when you get better leverage with the ratchets, that's why they gave them to us. You know, these ratchets, well, the ratchets itself versus a straight drive that you just put in and you trying to twist and your hand be slipping. With this, you get the leverage to kind of maneuver. All right, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm pulling this all apart. Now you have to understand that you have to know where everything goes at. Now a good technique to pull this is a really long screw, by the way, that I'm pulling out. But you don't want it to where you can't find nothing. You don't want to exactly pull everything completely out until you know for sure that you can get everything off, because there are different techniques of pulling things off to where you don't kill yourself and your engine or parts of your engine, to where you're gonna have to buy more parts. Try to salvage as much as possible. Darn it. I might have, matter of fact, I don't even need that much. I just need this. Just kind of easy, but it's not as easy. I'm not going to estimate how long this should take. If you go to the right mechanic, it ain't not going to take too long, but they'll make like, hey, it took us X amount of time and all this other mess. I want to say counterclockwise on any screws that you're dealing with. That's pretty much all I'm doing, just pulling off stuff right now. And, you know, it'll work. Let's see now. Now you got these little, see, like I said, let me pull this off the throttle body real quick because it has to come out. Wait, anyway, that's going to be a tough one. But when I pull that, I should have just pulled the throttle body off first and then come back to this. Because I already got it off pretty good. You know, it's just one piece and then the other, as you can see. Once I get that split over, I'll be able to get down here to the railing, which, you know, you see I got the alternator stuff and all this other mess here hooked up. I mean, it's not really complicated, but people make it out to be. You know, they make things pretty simple, so that's why they complicate it. You know, so you would have to pay somebody to do this mess. You know, that's how people earn their money. They don't tell you everything, but if you can kind of learn on your own and take the time out to just put a little bit of elbow grease into your work, you'll be just fine. So instead of me pulling this through here, this little area, I'm just going to simply take these two tubes off. And being that it sets like this back here, I'm going to take the yellow one off and I can yank the whole thing through there. Let's see, it's just a matter of pulling it. So let's just see under my arm. And there you go. Just pulled that off. That's going in this box. I know I got a big ass box back there. It's probably the best I can do. I did a lot of recycling lately, past couple of hours. Yeah, hell of a lot of recycling. I don't know if you can see that trash can. I got two of them. Yeah, anyway, I'm trying to keep my battery out of harm's way. So that's already out. Battery already sitting out. Make sure it's in kind of a shaded area. Because, you know, it's a give or take situation when it comes to them batteries, man. You put them in one area and too cold, you ain't going to be able to cold crank it. You put them in another area, it's too hot, you run out, you won't have no power to use because somehow it drains it somehow, I'm not sure. All right, let's see. It's another thing that got to come out right here. Now, all this has to be moved before you can get here, before you can get to your valve cover, all of it. I highly recommend that you know exactly where everything go at. Even if you gotta label it and, you know, just have everything sitting. Like this doesn't, I don't think I'm gonna have to move it, but then on the other hand, I'm gonna do it anyway. But this is definitely almost off. This is hooked up to your EGR valve. Now, that's complicated too because you got an 8mm bolt right here, right there, that's pretty much holding everything up. Holding this whole entire piece from coming off. Let me show you what I mean. Let me try to find like a 10mm, my 10mm ratchet. That's the smallest one that I have. I probably got it sitting in the car. And the one thing for sure, one thing I know is that I hate doing this shit sometimes. Because sometimes you can't find everything you need. Wait a minute, I got a 10, but I'm not sure where that 10 is. So I'm gonna try the 12, but I doubt the 12 won't do any damage. Nope. And even matter of fact, no, I could pull that off with a socket. I would have went live, but there's no point. All right, I'm gonna use my extension to pull this off. That's what I'm gonna do. I get the leverage I need if I have to, but matter of fact, I ain't gonna take no risk. I'm gonna go ahead and just use it. One thing you don't want to do is misplace half the stuff that you're using, because it's not much, but it makes one hell of a difference when you got the right tools for the right job. This takes a 10. So we'll take a 10. Or a 10mm socket. I like this locking mechanism that Husky made, because you can push on it, and it actually releases. See that? It releases the I don't know what that camera is, but it's a little thingy that pushes the whole socket out, so it really releases everything. Anyways, back on there. Time to pull this mess apart. All right, so all I'm doing is just pulling this. Crap. Now, one thing you don't want to do is strip a bolt. So you make sure you know for certain that thing gonna come off before you start twisting it too hard or using all your muscle. Because sometimes brains, well, what they say is the pen is mightier than the sword, or brains versus brawn. Sometimes brains win a lot versus being too strong. You don't have to be the world's strongest man to work on it. Work on these vehicles, period. But have a little firepower in your arm. Good grief, you might get into some kind of messy situation, and it might be the one that you might need a little bit more power in your arm to win that fight. And instead of you winning the fight, you'll lose because you wasn't strong enough. But there's always a way around certain things. God damn, I burned a lot of wires down here. Be on the lookout for wires like this, like frayed wires and all that, because that could come back to haunt you. I'm definitely going to be looking into that later on down the line, because I'm gonna need to wrap that up and seal it off. But they're not frayed real bad. It's just the covering. Well, anyway, I got it that far. Let me put the extension back on to this other piece so I can go ahead and get this stuff off. I'm pretty sure you just want to get to the point. All right, 10 millimeter. Let's doing this. Don't even need that extension right now. Just needed to get it loose enough to where I could pull it off. All right. And like I said, this is a part of the EGR valve. EGR valve is here. That would be a pain in the neck if you didn't know what you were doing. You got to be extremely strong to pull that off, or extremely smart to where you get you like a big wrench, and it gets you some leverage to where you can pull it. I put all my weight into pulling that thing off a couple of weeks ago, but that's only because it was rusty. I ain't had no money to pull it off. I mean, sometimes you want to find the cheapest way possible to do things, or whatever. Anyway, there you go. That's out your way. That's your challenge right there. Now I need to find my 10 millimeter, because that's the side that 10 millimeter ratchet I have will fit on there in a second.